Alright guys, time for another video. Remember, if you like these kind of videos, like, sub, silly comment, hit that bell. It helps the channel. Anyway, so last video I talked about why when playing, despite it potentially not looking like it in real matches, it's often not a bad idea to actually just go for, instead of doing multiple DP loops, just a run in forward hard slash, then a forward plus punch to a slash, or a slash to forward plus punch, then duck hard slash to DP, as the damage often can be very close to actual max damage optimal kick loop juggles even, right? So let's do a video about the combo choices you make during the match and why it's better to err on the side of doing one thing over the other. Cough, cough. Not another video talking about impossible combo, cough, cough. Because yes, of course I will talk about it. Although that combo is often hated when it's talked about, despite it being his most damaging, most burst safe, farthest moving to the corner, etc., etc., etc. The combo is often even a dumb reach combo, and let's show you why while I talk over all this footage. So something that is often overlooked when people talk about B&Bs or post their combo videos is that they don't take into consideration not just the normal character variations themselves, but the real match situation variations. Or if you have the momentum when you start the combo, like from running, which of course can have a potentially huge difference when we are thinking about just something like a normal high-low mix-up off a jump-in, instant air dash mix-up, whatever it might be, right? Which of course will then have no momentum whatsoever for the low, right? And then we also have to take into consideration when starting off of random hits, even a very small difference in what you start with, maybe just a straight hit, the last straight hit of the big blue that you went for with the high-low mix-up, just a single hit, even two hits, whatever it might be before you start a combo, can add in enough weight to make what was the idea of your B&B before, it will no longer work, period, right? And often I use the word idea when I talk about things and the potential ideology, I guess, of what is optimal in a game like Guilty Gear, because there's just so many different variables with the game system as it is. There's so many different enders you can have, different setup you might be trying to go off of said combo, etc. Because what is a B&B versus one character can, slightly vary pretty easily in this game, right? So looking at a situation like this with no impossible combo, here we have a extremely high damaging combo with, no impossible combo in it. And it does just as much damage as some of the more optimal versions of the impossible combo. However, besides the normal character variations, as well as just standing and ducking, this does not realistically work if there's any hits before it whatsoever. So there's no real instant air dash version of it that works reliably, let alone if you were doing it off a mix-up and you hit one of the hits of a big blue and you went into it. It just is not realistic. These are things that have to be taken into consideration if you're actually trying to play the game from like a theoretically, realistically optimal sort of way, right? This is another reason why when I often do the impossible combo is kind of like a dumb reach as well, right? Because believe it or not, it's actually not particularly affected by real match situations. Doesn't matter if it's a high or low mix-up. Doesn't matter if it's a stray big blue or not. Doesn't matter if it's off a random counter hit, whatever it might be, right? Even a simple version of the impossible combo, like with the lightsaber stuff, it generally always works despite the weight, despite what hits you've done for it. It's just, a matter of executionally, can you do it or not, right? So, for lack of a better word, maybe there's a good flow to the combo, believe it or not, right? Mid-screen, it's the same. Don't get me wrong, there's, a time and a place for certain things, as if you remember that one video I made about why triple DP loops mid-screen are actually kind of a meme, and when you actually play real matches, it's actually better to just do a lightsaber, like I said, because it basically does the same damage and it's not really affected the same way, right? Because as well, if you're thinking about actually trying to go for a max damage lightsaber DP loop all the time, that actually also as well is more affected by weight, more affected by the amount of hits, more affected by the momentum where you are on the screen, all these other variables much more so than impossible combo. What's more lightsaber stuff, if you've played the game, sometimes it won't even work. It actually has quite a number of character variations. You know what I mean? If you've tried lightsaber stuff. I should have shut off my goddamn fucking phone. Keeps flashing anyway. So, it's funny because people hate on the impossible combo. They'll say like, oh, well, it doesn't actually work versus a few characters. Well, guess what? Lightsaber stuff actually doesn't always work that well versus some characters as well. So derp derp. And let's not even get into the course. And of course, this isn't even get into if we're talking about trying to make our combos burst safe. The impossible combo is basically burst safe. When you try to make these DP loops and lightsaber loops burst safe, you're adding in extra jabs. So there goes your damage. So this isn't not even in the same ballpark, right? Again, because the combo doesn't really change. The only thing that changes about impossible combo is how you're going to end it. It just flows, and it flows off of counter hits really easily in real matches, since you can easily delay your spacing with the running in and delaying the hits, all that kind of stuff, right? It flows really well. So hopefully with that little discussion, you can see why, despite people hating on this combo for all its worth, not only is it its most damaging, best corner carry, most burst safe, it's even a dumb reach. Speaking of dumb reaches, though, what was Kai's best dumb reach besides that? When I think you're actually playing in a match, and I've said that before, I actually think it's just regular fireball stuff. I'm not a big fan of orb stuff. I'm not saying to never use the orb stuff or that I never do it, but the orb is really, if you're thinking about the game from like a more, I think, optimal perspective, it's really just a versatile move, right? Because the stun edge stuff, if you're actually talking about playing a match and going with the flow of a real match, it just flows with the actual real match. And on a standing opponent, the damage is basically the same as orb stuff. But on ducking, then you can actually realistically, very easily notice if the guy is ducking and then go for a rep of the kick loop and then into a knockdown. And then this now does a good chunk more than orb stuff. And of course with way better, more corner carry. And because you've done less hits, assuming you have that extra 25% meter, you can easily use this to then blow the opponent up because you didn't waste 3 little baby hits on an orb. Look at that. I mean, the guy blows up, right? So again, anyway, I'm not saying the orb stuff is useless, of course, but in terms of dumb reaches and, playing a real match, the stuff is just better, right? So anyway, that's me talking over some combos, Just remember, Guilty Gear has a lot of variables. Not only the common, people might just talk about, oh, this character's different, this character's weight's different, whatever, right? But even little things like, how much momentum do you have? A little bit of momentum, no momentum, whatever. Did you hit even a couple of hits, even a single hit before something? That can change what your quotation marks B&B is, right? So really, if you're thinking about the game and all these kind of surprisingly different variables that can happen in a real match, again, the impossible combo is actually kind of a dumb reach because, again, it doesn't change. It's always basically the same. So, and of course, besides that, like I said, I think the second best idea whenever you're playing a real match, the dumb reach of a B&B is just regular stun edge stuff, you know what I mean? Because you can just easily change the flow of what you're doing by recognizing if the guy is standing or ducking, and it's already doing what you're doing in a match as well, right? It just, again, not saying orb stuff is terrible or anything. Everything has a purpose or a potential purpose, but, at the end of the day, just because you can't do something doesn't mean it's not the best thing to do. So anyway, that was a long video. The end.